All right, so here we are. I was in the middle of PoE 2 when this got announced, and I just didn't feel like ripping it. Well, I was in PoE 2 mode. I couldn't be double dipping. So they've benched JAME, and yeah, they already talked about the CEO saying it was inevitable. Ultimately, with the players and coach, we concluded that at this stage, JAME would not be able to combine the two key roles in the roster. See, what's still so interesting to me, JAME was not the problem with this VP roster. He's also not the solution. So benching him, I think, is fine, but keeping Electronic, I think at this stage in his career is kind of crazy to me, unless he has like the biggest turnaround renaissance resurgence I've ever seen. I am a big time Electronic simp, but I also can't sit here and simp for him so hard and just ignore like quite literally everything since he's not been on Navi. So I think you got to get rid of Electronic too, because you can't, bro, you lost your op IGL, so you got to clear some room here. You're going to have to get an IGL and an opper. And I don't think Electronic IGLing is the move. And this was JAME's team. So like, I'm sentimental because I think JAME is really what made this roster who and what it is, for better and for worse. And as a spectator, I flamed it all the time. But like, you know, as Maui likes to say, cultural impact. But so like, it feels weird. I think, To me, it's wild if Electronic stays on this roster. And I say that as somebody that is quite literally a huge fan of his. Like, you need to get an op and an IGL. I don't know the scene well enough to know which players they could pick up. I'm not nearly knowledgeable enough to have like an informed opinion. But what I can have an opinion on is Electronic after Navi has been poo on an individual level and on an IGL level. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no lying about it. It's literally just been bad. There's not, I don't know what you could say where you're like, whoa, it's not that, like, no, it's been bad. So him staying, you just dropped your op and IGL. So unless one of these players is now going to become the IGL, which you better not be fucking fl0m or fl0m, because holy shit, you're going to make me have another mental breakdown with star player IGL rants. So then maybe Norbert, but I actually feel like Norbert's done such a good job. Like, if I were in charge of things, if I could find a situation where I just get a dedicated IGL, dedicated opera, that's what I would do. I think trying to replace one and trying to find both is insane. And if you're not trying to replace both and you're trying to make like Norbert the IGL, man, this dude's actually nuts. Like, you're just putting more weight on this guy's shoulders. That's what I would like to see. Is I think Electronic needs to figure it the fuck out on a different roster, and I would try to get another op IGL. But who knows? I'm stupid. I don't know the scene well enough, so maybe that's not really a viable option. I mean, but I find it hard to believe that out of this region there isn't that. Like, dude, I swear to God, Russian oppers are insane, bro. Like, or rather people that speak Russian, like if you want to just include the entire region of people that can fill into this, like, dude, no, like the amount of operas that have come out of that goddamn region are insane. So I find it impossible to think that they wouldn't be able to find an opera. IGL, I'm not sure as much. But this is kind of the issue when you replace the op IGL. It's the same problem that Liquid ran into forever, is you can't really do it. So it's tricky. You think CS utility economy helped ruin JAME? No. I think I say this as a guy that won the Celebrity HLTV Fantasy League because of JAME when he won the major. Fluke, I think, is a bad word to use because I think they played incredibly good Counter-Strike that wasn't really out of the norm of their level. I think the fluke and the added part wasn't around them. It was around everybody else. It was about the top teams failing to do what VP did, which is maintain their level and play at a consistently high level in all avenues of the tournament. And yeah, and Heroic choked. Like, I mean, and so that was their peak, right? They win a major. But that was also like nobody really expected them to keep winning. I thought they'd be competitive from there on out. So I don't think CS2 did something necessarily to JAME's style or team that really hurt them. I just think it was kind of a long time coming where it was, if you're not progressing, you're going backwards, because if you're not progressing, everybody around you is progressing and they're catching up and they're going past you. And I think JAME's team and I think VP in general just never really progressed. They kind of just maintained where they are and they became more of a gatekeeper because of it, and other teams progressed and moved forward.